What up, Wizards? It's Dev, SBMTG. We like it in Magic, coming to you from the couch for what feels like the first time in a really long time, because, surprise, I care about this Baldur's Gate set. And yeah, I know, I normally do like standard stuff around here, so maybe I shouldn't go sticking my nose into commander sets, because what do I know? Well, what I know is that as I look through this set, I couldn't help but get excited about a bunch of cards. I really like the idea of a commander pre-release. I've done one of these before, and I'm probably going to do another one the same morning this video comes out, actually. Imaginary watch check for no reason there. But yeah, I really like these commander pre-releases. I really like the Wizards got to explore more in the world of Dungeons and Dragons, because, you know, these two worlds go together really well. It's almost like they're owned by the same company. And now they get to do the D&D thing within the context of commander, which is kind of awesome. You know, last time we did a Dungeons and Dragons Magic set, it was pretty exciting, but we had to do standard stuff. And even though, you know, I like standard, you know that about me, you know, you put out a standard set and you're a little restricted in what you can actually do. But when you put out a commander product, you go hog wild, and that's basically what they've done here. So it might be from the perspective of a guy that doesn't play all the commander in the world, but I play some commander when I get a chance to. I like the format. You got a good format here, everybody. I like it, but I will admit I'm not the most accomplished commander player in the world. But maybe that brings a unique perspective on things, I'm hoping. So let's today talk about my top 10 favorite cards from Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate. That's a mouthful. Can I just say Baldur's Gate? My top 10 favorite cards from Baldur's Gate.
And I'm your favorite Magic Channel's favorite Magic Channel. Best believe that the professor go bananas for my deck tech.
Let's start as we normally do. One day I should start as we do not normally do. I should just start with like number one and then do the honorable mentions last. But tonight I think we'll do the honorable mentions first, as usual. I got two of these this time around, and you'll be super proud of me because I had to stop myself from having like 10 honorable mentions. Just like a whole other list. But I've decided to pare it down to one commander and one like not commander. So as far as the not commander goes, like the normal card, I don't know if I should be using that word, but the normal card here is Stone Speaker Crystal. This is neat from a design perspective. What this is a Hedron Archive for jerks. That's what this card is. You just play Hedron Archive and draw your second card, and that's like pretty good. But you can instead play this and mess with everybody's graveyard shenanigans at the cost of a card, because you're a jerk and you would rather mess with everybody than just draw your second card like a normal person. Now, a commander that I really like, but it's not going to like make the list or anything, is Asterius. This guy looks awesome. He's kind of a David Bowie face is what he's giving me, and then like a Billy Idol drip, which is, yes, like, he looks awesome. But also like the text on him. You know, at this point, you can play like 3 or 4 unique versions of this ability in your commander deck where your opponent loses the amount of life they've lost that turn, blah, blah, that first ability on him. And that's just an ability that I've always really, really liked. So whether this is in the 99 of like a random Orzhov life gain and pain kind of deck, or he's just like, you're straight up your commander. Like a sweet little card here. Let's talk the actual list here. And let's also talk Ziggy. He's here. Hey, buddy. You're a very pretty boy. Yes, you are. Did you know that? You should. But anyway, number 10. I really had to try hard to not have this card be my number 1 because I'm like way too excited about like a dinky 1-mana artifact. But I really, really like Campfire. Again, standard player here. Kind of wish we just had this card in standard. That'd be kind of nice. Without all the commander text. But the commander text is cool too. This card does an awful lot. It kind of reminds me of like a weird amalgamation of Fountain of Youth. A card you probably shouldn't be still playing your commander decks, if you ever did. But, you know, maybe you want 0-cost artifacts. Right? But this is kind of like that. And it's also a lot like a Feldon's Cane, which is a card I really have liked for 25 years. So I can't help but think this card's a little bit hot. But the commander text, again, is pretty cool, right? If your commander has died a lot, you can just throw it into your hand so you don't have to pay the, you know, 6 to 10 mana tax or whatever that you're paying on it at that point in the game. So Campfire is actually pretty sweet, like relatively early, gains you a little bit of life, procs any artifact synergies that you might have. And then late in the game, it makes it to where you can just cast your commander for a halfway normal cost, and you can like Feldon's Cane your whole graveyard back into your library. So this card actually does a lot of stuff. I think it can bring us together. We can all gather around this card. You see what I'm trying to do with this? All together, this card right here is pretty good. I was going to say fire. I'm not doing it. But again, I talked about a kind of boring normal card. So let's talk about a commander I'm excited about next. Number 9 is Raphael. This guy is a lord for demons, devils, imps, and of course tieflings. Everyone's favorite creature type, tieflings. But one way or the other, just like demons, devils, that's good enough. And imps too. I mean, imps don't get enough love in Magic. We used to see more of those. Remember Norit? Remember Norit's an imp, but anyway, this guy, Nettling Imp, everyone's least favorite card. Remember Nettling Imp was really annoying, but still. Even though we don't get a whole lot of imps, and I doubt we'll see Imp Tribal anytime soon in Commander. Hello again, Ziggy. This guy's just really cool. You know, I like a devil lord that makes more devils and stuff. Just everything about this dude is pretty cool, and I can't wait for the inevitable altars. They're probably going to look something like that. Now, for number 8, I've just got written down dice rolling stuff. But there's a couple of cards in particular because there's a lot of dice rolling garbage in this set that's mostly, I think, meant for drafting. But there's a lot of really cool dice rolling stuff, too. And I'm glad that, like, it looks like what with all the dice rolling stuff that we've had up to now and all the dice rolling stuff that we had in the last D&D set, that maybe we actually can put together, like, a real dice rolling, like roll a d20 commander deck, which is really, really sweet. But still, I really like both Vexing Puzzle Box and Will, or perhaps Wile. I also like Wand of Wonder, but I'm pretty sure it's a bad Magic card. I just really like the art and the effects of the card. But actually playing it and then activating it is probably going to be harder than it looks. So I shouldn't like Wand of Wonder, but I think it's cool. But still, Vexing Puzzle Box, even though, you know, you got to get to 100 before it actually does anything. It's just nice to have a thing that's counting up all your dice rolls, you know, the entire time. And I think that's a nice thing that a lot of people who like to throw dice in a game of Magic the Gathering, you know, have been looking for a while, like a real payoff for rolling multiple dice a lot of times in a game. So multiple die? Sure. A lot of times in a game. No, it's dice. Anyway, but there's also Wile. And what? It's got to be Will. It's got to be Will, right? I don't know how to say words, but still, this is kind of like a barbarian class, I guess, like on a commander, you know. And combined with barbarian class, I guess that means you'll get a lot of extra rolls. Does it work the way I want it to? I think it might, but still, you know, this is just a commander that does the thing you want a dice rolling commander to do. I get to re-roll. Basically, you know, which is just really, really sweet, especially for only a couple of mana. This really helps you get set up. And hopefully no one is a butthole and then kills him in the early game. But even if they do, it's only 4 mana then to put him back on the table at that point. So he's not too expensive, very cheap to get you started rolling dice and stuff. And hopefully people are nice and allow you to roll dice with this guy on the table a couple of times. It's just be nice to the dice rolling commander player. They're not trying to do the most powerful thing in the room, right? But I just really like rolling dice in Magic. I've always liked doing it, but it's never been competitive, right? So I really like it in this format that is not super competitive. Again, let people have their fun. Rolling dice is fun. But number 7 is that Con Sarn Dag Nab Raza Fraggin Raga Draga over here. This is just a really fun name of a card to say, but it's also like kind of a thing that I've been secretly wishing for a while now. This is what a sweet looking Magic card right here. This makes your Birds of Paradise, your like Lawnmower Elves, actually like kind of formidable creatures. Your birds, your Bob's like a 2-power flyer. Lawnmower Elves like a 3/3, right? And it's everything you want from a commander that cares about mana abilities, which is really sweet, right? Like, not only do your mana dorks get bigger, they're not even dorks anymore. You know, so that's I don't know if you can call them that, but not only do they get like way bigger, it's a huge Anthem effect, but you still get to attack with them too, and then untap them. And if you use your mana dorks for the thing you want to use mana dorks for and cast like huge spells, and suddenly one of your mana dorks gets freaking enormous, which is just like really, really sweet. There's a lot of awesome stuff about this card, but one of the things I like most about it, I think, is that it's not one of those commanders you can just go to Scryfall and be like, creatures power 3 or more, or like whatever your commander does, right? Like if your commander's like a tribal commander, you just go to Scryfall and be like, creatures with the type dragon. I'm gonna break this card. You can't really do that. You know, you can't go like to Scryfall and be like, creatures with a mana ability. I don't think that exists as a search function on Scryfall. So you have to actually like painstakingly go through every card that's ever existed to find the best creatures with mana abilities. And I actually think that's a really neat like challenge. I mean, I guess within a couple of months you just go to EDHREC and see what all people are playing with this card. But for the time being, I think this actually encourages people to just like go through old sets and be like, what has a mana ability that's really good with this? Because there's probably a bunch of stuff that we haven't thought of or haven't played in Lord knows how long, right? Because it's not just Bop and Llanowar Elves and Finhorn Elves and other mana dorks and stuff like that. There's plenty of garbage that works really well with this thing. Number 6 is Jan Jansen or Jan Jansen. Maybe it's Jan Jansen. Tell me what the actual official pronunciation of this guy's name is, because it's secret here. This is the guy I most want to get as my commander at the pre-release. For one, he's Mardu, and I really like the Mardu color combination. I think I've been pretty clear about that in the past, but he's also just really good. It's not even that he's cool. He is cool. But I actually think this card is just straight up good. They just threw haste on him, which is nice. So you can either tap him and sack an artifact creature to immediately almost pay for himself. Right? He pays for 2/3 of his casting cost the turn that you play him, which is pretty silly. Or you can just sacrifice, a random artifact and get 2 creatures. So the turn that you play him, you basically pay 3 mana for 3 guys on the table all at once, which is really good. Both of those play lines are really good. And of course, left unchecked over the course of a few turns, this guy can make you a ton of treasure tokens and then turn those treasures into artifact creatures, which is pretty cool, right? Every time he busts up 1 artifact, it can turn into 2 creatures, which, again, gets out of control, whether you're given a bunch of turns or you just untap him a bunch of times in the same turn, which is probably what you really want to do. Plus, he's a Mardu Artifacts Commander, which is an intersection of 3 things that don't come together very often, if at all. So we've had plenty of artifact commanders in the past, but this is one of the guys that I am most excited to play as the commander in my artifacts deck. He's relatively cheap to get out, and he has immediate impact on the board, and over the course of a bunch of turns, he does a lot of work for you. So just a really sweet looking artifact commander, and the minute I get a chance to be playing him, I'll be Jansen in the streets. But halfway through the list here, let's look at yet another gold commander. I like a lot of these. Let's look at Captain Ngathrod. This guy is really sweet. I've told you guys before how much I love horrors. Horrors. YouTube, I'm saying horrors. It's a good creature type. I love horrors. They're good. They're awesome, and I love... There's actually a real, not necessarily lord, but just tribal guy. It's just not a whole lot of love for horrors. I've got to nail that word or I will definitely be demonetized. But one way or the other, not only is this a sweet little tribal commander for, a creature type that doesn't get a whole lot of love, but it's actually awesome too. They all get menace. That makes it easier to deal combat damage. When they deal combat damage, your opponent mills that many cards, not just 1 card for each thing that hits them. That many cards. So the horror gets through for 4 damage, 3-4 damage. That's a lot of mills right there. You're very likely to hit something that you can then just steal for free and throw onto the battlefield during your end step. That's a nutso ability right there. And if you get more than 1 or 2 turns with that on the battlefield, and you actually get to steal 2 or 3 cards from different opponents or whatever, you've got a giant target on your dumb head. You probably shouldn't have done that, but still, you're having a lot of fun for the time being. Plus, this is just another really fun name to say, right? They really went all out with the fun names in this set. Captain Ngathrod, Raga Draga, Jan Jansen, Smitty Werben Jaegerman Jensen. It's a good set for names. And number 4 is Bramble Sovereign. Definitely. This card, I want it in standard. Why can't we just have the card? In my format, I'm jealous of you guys for getting to play Bramble Sovereign all the time. I would do. If I played all the commander like you do, I would play Bramble Sovereign constantly. Not only can this copy your own creatures, which is what I want to do with it. I mean, 2 mana is kind of hefty a little bit to copy your own dudes, but I think it's going to be more than worth it if you build your deck right, and shouldn't be too hard to do that. But you also get to kind of play politics a little bit, copy your opponent's creatures for them sometimes, hey, I see you casting that guy, it's probably going to hurt Jeff, and I have something against Jeff for some reason. So how about I pay 2 mana, you copy that guy, we'll get Jeff together, you and me. So I like that idea. Jeff's probably not going to want to eat lunch with you afterwards. But what I do, Jeff is kind of a jerk. I don't know, Jeff's probably perfectly nice. Don't gang up on Jeff. Don't do it. But one way or the other, it's just Bramble Sovereign is neat that you have the option, if you want to copy your opponent's creatures for you. Don't get it. They get them. So, I mean, maybe sometimes you want that, right? So, I don't know. Just a cool little card here that mostly is probably going to copy your own dudes, but also might make you the most popular person in the room. Or, as far as the Jeff example, at least one person's not going to like you, but everybody else will. But hey, we made it to the top 3 together. Number 3, if you're wondering what kind of an evil, soulless butthole likes calculating lich, you're looking at him. It's me. And speaking of cards that I'm like really jealous we don't have in standard. I mean, I know that this works like way better in a game with like 4 to 8 people playing, but at the same time, I still, even though it'd be very expensive, overpriced 6 mana thing for standard, I still want it. Can I just want the? Is that okay that I want your card, Commander players? You guys get all the good stuff. And I know that like even for Commander it's kind of expensive, but just imagine the chaos of dropping this on a board with 3 other players, and if anyone attacks anybody else, someone's losing life, right? So I just really like this. You can kind of sit back and not even attack people. Just let people attack each other. And there's going to be a lot of extra life loss going around. So I imagine this is probably just going to be a target for removal, and it's going to suck to spend 6 mana on your lich, and then unlike a lot of liches, he just dies like a 2 mana removal spell. It's kind of the point of being a lich, is that you don't die so easily. But I guess he's too busy doing maths to protect himself effectively. Like no reliquary on this guy, keeping him alive. I don't know what the deal is, but one way or the other. This lich is a bit slightly fragile, I would imagine. Doesn't die to Doomblade. You can't say that about him. But still, if he doesn't die immediately, your opponents are going to be really jacked up to attack each other. Right, but there's also the fact that you can drop this on a board full of your own creatures, immediately attack, and maybe just like drain somebody out of the game before you even actually deal combat damage. So there's just so much I like about this, and again, I'm very, very jealous. Even if we just had like a baby version of this guy in standard somehow, that'd be like whenever you attack a player, they lose a life. That'd be pretty sweet. Just a baby version of a son of a lich would be really nice. I had to work that joke in. Number 2, however, is the last commander on the list, believe it or not. This is Mirren. This is Mirren, everybody. Hello, Helen Mirren. Nice to meet you. This card I am absolutely 100% in love with. Did you know that? As the commander in your Dragon Tribal deck, or more likely, at least in my case, I think, as part of the 99 in your Tiamat deck, this has an awful lot of fun stuff it can do, whether you're copying one of the Kamigawa dragons, being that, whether it's one of the old ones or one of the new ones, it doesn't really matter. Those are all good dice triggers. Or maybe you're copying like a Bogard and Hellkite, slamming for 10 immediately. Maybe you're copying a Terror of the Peaks, and then playing other dragons, and then just killing everyone at the table is probably how that's going to work. Unless they disrupt this, which they probably can, but let's not think about that. Or maybe you copy your Exalted Dragon, and then you have to sacrifice 2 lands when you attack. That's not good. That's not good at all. Either way, Myram, or however you pronounce this thing, is really a super exciting card, and like one of the cards I'm most jacked about from this set. I don't know if it's going to be my commander, or again, if it's going to be in 99. I already have Tiamat deck, so maybe I'll just throw it in. We'll figure it out. But one way or the other, just a really, I was worried that this whole video, very worried in fact, this whole video would just would be me being like, hey, this card's awesome. Isn't this card cool? I like this card. It's really cool. And like, that's definitely what it's threatening to become, but I just don't know what else to say about this card because I'm kind of smitten with it. So really, what an awesome Magic card. You're telling me I can copy my Shivan Dragon, have 2 Shivan Dragons? If you'd have told 12-year-old Dev that, I'd be going nuts right now. But what is number 1? What even is number 1? Well, what I have not talked about like at all in this video is backgrounds. And it seems as though there are commanders in this set that ask you specifically to choose a background. And those are the only commanders that you can choose backgrounds for. I think that's stupid. I think you ought to be able to choose a background for literally any commander, and I'm going to lobby for that every single place that I go, because I want my commander to have a background no matter who he, she, they, or them, or it are. So I think that backgrounds are awesome, and I shouldn't have to pick a lame commander just to pick a background, because boy do I want to play with Street Urchin as my background. There's a couple of really cool backgrounds, and I could talk about all of them because I think they're kind of all very awesome, but Street Urchin is the one that immediately caught my attention like the most. I mean, I really liked, I think it's called Haunted One. I think that one looks awesome too, but Street Urchin just like absolutely like maybe easily the card that I'm most excited about in this entire set. And again, I want so badly to be able to play backgrounds with any commander. It's like, there are a lot that would work really well with this, but you guys know that this is my kind of Magic card. I like sacrificing stuff, and I like dealing damage because I sacrifice stuff. So this card is just calling my name. And again, I fear that I will devolve into like, isn't this a cool card? But like, isn't it? In it, I should say. Like a real street urchin. In it, sir. Sorry. But still, really cool Magic card. It's my favorite card in the whole set, in fact. That's why I made the video, so I can tell you what my favorite card is. It's this one. I really like Street Urchin. But now it's your turn. Like, tell me what your favorite cards in the set are, because there's over 300 cards in the set. And they're kind of almost all very cool. Like, I could have made this one of the top 25s, and I honestly probably should have, but again, I was already worried that the video would just be like, "It's cool, I like it, I think it's cool." And like, I probably shouldn't do that for 25 entries, but I think 10 entries is just enough. So you let me know what your favorite cards in this set are. Anything you think is just like really cool, anything that nails the mark in terms of like flavor, something that you wanted to see from the D&D universe that they just like actually did and did right. You know, like some of these. Lord, some of these planeswalkers, you guys, like Elementor looks so cool, but I'm not sure how good the card actually is, right? But still, there's some awesome stuff in this set, so let me know what you like. Aside from that, just do the YouTube stuff on the way out. You know, likes are free. Just throw a little thumbs up my way. It really helps me out in the algorithm. And of course, give me a comment. Let me know how you felt about it. Also helps out with the algorithm. But what really helps is the subs. If you hit subscribe, that is also completely free to do on YouTube. Costs you nothing and really helps me out. So I would appreciate that. Subs are good and I like them. But you can also check me out on Twitch where I play Magic. I play the game of Magic the Gathering. I know that sounds crazy, but sometimes I do that. So check me out on twitch.tv/SBMTGDev, or you can check me out on Patreon to help support the channel. Just $1 a month to vote on content and see outtakes, and pretty sure there's going to be a couple of really weird outtakes from this video, so you might want to check that out. But still, that is all I've got for this one. Also, link in the description to Patreon and all this other stuff, or you can just type it into your address bar if you remember the things. Patreon.com/SBMTGDev. No, it's just hit the link in the description. It's just patreon.com/SBMTG. Hilarious. I'm so bad at self-promotion. But anyway, I'm done for this one, so just let me know how you felt about all this stuff, and I'll catch you cats later. I'm Deb from The Place. Thanks for watching, Wizards. Spread love and be kind.